some cool news. Pat got her copper foil
We're trying
in.
to figure out, what the limits to this are. And so far, we just haven't found any, right? So these are these clear face shields that if you go to the dentist, hygienist might be wearing it, or if you go get your hair done and they keep the chemicals from splashing on them. So I get them at Amazon. And so I've just started sticking, aluminum or copper, and I'll send the links to this stuff. And I ordered some brass and you can see
Uh-huh.
through it, just like you can your mask, so if you can see through your mask, you can see through this stuff. And so,
Cool.
yeah, so I tried it today and I was getting color. The yellow is kind of hard to see, but the blue and the red with the transparency, it's like a really thick cellophane. The nice part is that you can put two of them together and get like another color. So you have the blue and then you have the red, you put them together and all of a sudden you've got purple. So you can really mix match them.
Yellow and blue make
And the
green.
Well,
copper is
yeah.
like four times thicker because I didn't want to go so thin, like the gold leaf stuff is just too
Mm-hmm.
thin. I figured
Mm-hmm.
it'd fall apart. So I got something a little heavier and just put it on these. This is like something a dental assistant might wear
Yeah.
to like keep her from getting stuff
Mm-hmm.
splashed. Yeah, so it was really
But
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, doing that at Rome's training. Do they know about the mask with the hole in it? That was just so
But
brilliant.
Keith, in Orlando, Alec and Dahlia, they got my little window open again, right?
okay.
And of course, it closed. Coming into Orlando this time, I was working feverishly before Orlando to try to get it open back up. So I was trying all kinds of things. I was experimenting, including looking through a straw
Mm-hmm.
and, using a little bit of self-hypnosis techniques. For example, this is where you say that you already have something and you
Yes.
repeat affirmations like, I am already seeing with my mindsight in real time through the mask. And you say that over again, and before you know it, your brain treats it like, yeah, I'm already doing it. It's no
Yep.
big deal. They use that kind of stuff in coaching for business and, other things, right? And so I was doing that and I was looking through a straw. Carol, I thought of you. Okay. And, in Godridge, there's a hole in my mask. So
It's
I thought,
broken.
well, if everybody thinks that there's a hole in the mask, if you can't beat them, join them. So I put a hole in my mask on the left side because the left is connected to the right brain.
Yep.
And I put it lower down because your eye is actually not in the middle, it's actually lower
Yep.
down and closer. And I would say to myself, I'm already seeing with my mind sight. And then I was doing a meditation one day and I got a window, just a very tiny window, but it was telescopic mind sight.
Ooh,
And like not with the hole in the mask. The hole in the mask is kind of like training wheels, right? Or
exactly.
looking through the straw. And I got this seeing window, and it was the weirdest thing because it was only small. It literally was the size of a pea or the straw, right? But yet things were close up that were far away. It was really odd. And it's like, okay, I've got my seeing window open for Orlando.
Could
And
you zoom in and out with it?
no, no, because I had it for about 5 seconds. And then, of course,
Okay.
your brain gets all
Yeah, it takes over.
excited.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
The left brain tries to move in and take credit for it.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it gets shut down. But I had it again. I had it twice where I could see, and I tried to be more relaxed the second time. It did last longer. It's just that it's very exciting when this stuff happens. And
Yes.
except if you get too excited, you close it down,
Wait,
right?
let me see if I understood. You actually made a roll like in your mask, like you
Yeah,
made
like I
it.
took, in a
Like,
screwdriver set, you have
yeah,
like it's a
yeah.
pin punch sort of thing. If you want to
Oh
put a
Yeah.
little
yeah.
dot in something, a lot of screwdriver sets will have that as one of the screwdrivers. So I just pushed that through the mask and pulled it back out again. So it's a pinhole, well, bigger than a pinhole. But of course, Carol, I immediately thought of you, with all that, right? And
Cool,
I
yeah.
tried it and it worked. So in Orlando this time, I brought two masks for everybody. One with the pinhole, no logo
Oh,
on it, so it says mindful, so that's how they can tell the difference. And then the regular mask with the logo on it, and people used it, and it helped. Two people, Chris Huff was one, where inside he put it on, and I warned everybody. I said you got to be careful because in my case, if I wear it for more than about 30 seconds and look through, I actually start to feel a little nauseous. I don't know what it
Hmm.
does, but not everybody gets that. So I do warn people, just do it for limited amounts of time. If you start to feel anything, just take it off. Chris Huff, he was having trouble with his mindsight. And so everybody else was outside, out the front and out the back. And I
Hmm.
said, well, Chris, let's try something else. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results?
Yeah.
So let's try something different. He put it on, he looked through and he says, okay, I'm going to walk to the front door. And I thought, oh my God, he's going to trip over the chairs and the furniture. So I was right beside him, but he was looking all around and making sure he was safe. I kind of went ahead of him a bit out the front door to sort of guide him over the step if necessary. I didn't want him tripping. And then as soon as he came into the sunshine, he said, I'm getting another light in the same position on the other side. And that happened to two people. And that, helped him open his mindset. It's kind of like the brain says, well, whatever's on one side should be on the other, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it created it. So I didn't get that effect happening for myself, but he did, and the other lady did. And it's just again tricking the brain. It's kind of like showing the people too what it can look like.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of people you can describe it, but they don't have any idea. It seems to give an example that the mindsight can then use as a bit of a pattern or helps open the channels up a little faster. But it worked. So it'll be incorporated into
That's
every
cool.
seminar from now on.
And
That's
I
That's a
think
great
so
idea.
cool.
especially because it's like right there and they see it open. The part that really is hard for people, it almost always starts around the periphery, and that's where people have their doubt and they convince themselves that it's not real. But Dahlia had said, so we had talked about, the after image, you don't get that unless you're using your retinas. And then Dahlia had talked about optical illusions.
Mhm.
So, the word optical would imply that when your optic nerves are involved, that you would be able to see the optical illusion. And she said that you can't see it if you're using your brain. So we're going to test that. I also ordered some of those, that when we were kids, we had these little cards that if you held it in the light one way, you'd see like a kitty, and hold it in the light another way, and you see a puppy. So I ordered
Mm.
some of those cheap off of Amazon. I'm going to test those out and see if that will help distinguish between eyes and brain.
You'll have to try. Remember a few years ago, there was the lady with the silvery brown dress?
Yes.
You'll have to try that one and see what you see.
Yes. I'm going to try everything I can get my hands on, see if I can figure it out.
I didn't understand how did it work, like what's the difference that you should get between your illusion opticals? Can you explain
Yes. So,
again,
yes.
please?
So when you're looking with your eyes, the way the light hits the retina and then bounces off the different things in your eyes will create certain artifacts or allow you to see things differently. And if you're not using your physical eyes, like when we use our mind sight, we're using our brain, not our eyes. So we don't get that. So there was one that I had sent it to Pam last night, and I sent it to you too, didn't I, Rob? Um, and so I can send it to you guys. It's a it's a grid, and with your eyes, you see a little something extra that you don't see with your brain. So I don't see it when I'm using my mind sight. I don't know if Rob had a chance to try it or Pam had a chance to try
I,
it,
I got to
but we'll
get my
have.
window back open again, Pat.
Okay, all right. So I'll send it to
Yeah,
Carol and Keith.
yeah, send please so I can
Okay.
try as well.
Now,
Cool.
part of it could be the fact that sometimes with these optical illusions, it's because you're seeing with two eyes, like you've got perspective maybe with two different eyes. I mean, try that too, Pat, where before you put
Okay.
your mask down, close one eye and see if you still see the optical illusion. Because I
Good
don't
point.
know, I'm just throwing it out there that maybe some of these illusions could be created because you've got two eyes.
Yeah.
And it's the way that the brain interprets the difference of images or something. I don't know.
I'm going to hold it up to the screen so you know what you're going to be receiving. So here it is in the screen, and I don't know. I'm not seeing any little dots at the
Oh, I see
intersections.
them.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
see
You
see
see
them,
them.
it?
Pat.
I see
Okay.
Yeah,
them. I see
So
them.
that's
Yeah.
very
okay,
typical, except for the very spot that you're looking at. On the
right. Then
periphery,
it
there's
Yeah.
dots
moves.
everywhere
Yeah.
Yeah.
else. Yep.
Yeah.
So what we want to know is when you're using your mind sight, can you still find those little black dots? If not, this is a perfect
Oh,
test.
interesting.
Yeah, it would be a
Oh,
perfect
so
test. It was
if you don't see, it's your mind sight.
right.
Pat,
That's what we're hoping.
could you
Mm,
hold it up again? And I'm going to use one
Yep.
eye. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
let's
Yeah.
see.
I
I
still
can
see them
see.
with one
I
eye.
can
Uh-huh.
see.
Still see them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can somebody put a mask on and see if they see it? So what we found is so many people struggle with the doubt,
Mhm.
almost like this was too easy. Like I'm using my eyes. I know you're telling me I'm not, but I'm using my eyes. Doubt is a stalker. And it
Well,
really is. Like if you give it
Yeah.
any attention at all, or don't just shut it
Yeah.
down, confront it and say, we're done, stalker, we're
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
It'll just keep at you and keep at you. So
I'm struggle with adults every time. Like I need to put the patch and I need to put the mask and I don't know what else I need to do.
You put the
They,
shield up front.
yeah,
exactly. And you're
I'm gonna
still
put this
doubting.
as well.
Yeah,
Exactly.
somebody asked me, they're like, okay, so when was the last time you struggled with doubt? And I'm like, 8:30 this morning.
Yeah.
It just
30
doesn't go
seconds
away.
ago.
Yeah. But if we had like a little card that we could hold up and say, oh, nope, that's my window, we'd feel
well,
so much better.
and Pat, that's why you're motivated to go for these other things like the
Yeah.
foil and
Right.
Yeah.
then even thicker foil like the copper foil so that your brain will
Oh,
say, well,
thank you.
how can I go against that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I have a question to Rob. When you saw through this little pinhole and you saw this the other the actual mind sight, what was the difference? What make you think
Oh,
that
in my case, I use the mask just to kind of kickstart it. To say, well, it can look like this, like as you look around and I'm visualizing, I mean, I'm remembering what I see as I go around. And then when I take it off, I close my eyes and I revisit that and I'll visualize what I was just seeing. In other words, I'm turning my head and I see the room going by in that little window, in that little opening. So all these things are to kind of show the mind sight and to show the person. It somehow
yeah,
lubricates the way a little bit to the mindset.
yeah, I'm putting now the paper, the black paper over it, is that I'm getting the small dots, like little dots, even though if I have the mask and the paper, when I'm looking, I don't see anything yet, but I see these little white dots, like I saw when I was just with the mask. So I was,
Yes.
oh, so it seems the same, like it's the same process. And with this paper that's so thick, and because I'm always like doubting because of this, like
Yep.
I'm always like, ugh. And that's why I need to put the patches on and then the mask. And I was like, oh, it's the same thing, but is with this paper is not coming from any light or
Yeah. And
whatever.
what I would like to do, I don't know if it's possible within the 8 days, but it would be pretty cool to discover enough little secrets that we could have people go from the mask to the patches and even take the patches off and go with the extended mask,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that by the time they leave, they can't take any doubt with them. And if they
Right.
yeah,
do, it's just not logical because if they're seeing through that construction paper or whatever, what do you guys call that in the States? Anybody's logical mind would say, oh my gosh, if I can see through that, I am seeing with my mind sight. Like,
Yeah.
how can you go away with doubts after that, right?
Right.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be
yeah.
better with the cardstock because I mean, the eye patches are uncomfortable, right? And
Oh
just that
yeah.
alone can be a distraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Now,
it's so funny because when I put the eye patches and don't put the mask, I can see anything.
you
It's
can't.
just like, yeah, it's just the color of the patch. It's like the lights. When I put the mask on, I can see better than
Interesting.
every.
Now,
But I'm still like, there is some truth going
well, then
through like that.
I wonder, Pat. I mean, Heidi's going to join us as a demonstrator in
Okay.
Orlando.
Oh,
And
good.
and of course, she only has one eye. She's got vision problems, so that's a good thing
Yeah.
for people to see. But
Yeah.
I wonder if we should not go with the patches, because I mean, that was my idea to do that in the first place in the seminars, right? But I
Yeah.
wonder if it would be a good idea go from the mask And then we either come
The
in on
sheet.
one
Yeah.
side with the paper
Right.
or come down or come up. Maybe
Yeah.
one side, the one session, put
Yeah.
paper on the other session, and then
Yeah.
paper on the third. Like bypass the patches.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Try
use
it.
the patches for like another level of difficulty, like with the aluminum
Yeah.
foil and the copper.
Hmm.
It's like, okay, so and leather, so the leather, you can see through the leather pretty easily. Aluminum,
Leather, you can see through the leather
yeah,
as
the
well?
leather's actually the easiest. Yeah.
Really?
So yeah, and
Wow.
it's like 1/8 inch thick. It's like rawhide. You just get it at the craft
Hmm.
store.
Mhm.
Maybe 3/32, but I mean it's thick. There's no holes through it. Nothing that you could see
Yeah,
through.
yeah,
But you can
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
like your brain says, oh, it's just leather, it's clothing. Especially if you've already like thrown a towel or a hoodie or something over
Yeah.
your head. Your brain accepts that it can see through it.
yeah.
But what surprised me was when the brain accepted that it could see through foil. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, because
really?
that's
Like that
solid.
was a
That's solid.
stretch.
I mean, it's metal.
Metal.
And,
Yeah.
and Pat, how do you see it? Like when you are seeing through like the mask and then the
Yep.
foil, how do
Yep.
you see it? Like you see like blurry and there's a color, or you can see actually like real time.
Yeah. So it's like it starts to glow. Like it's illuminating from somewhere, like from down here, but I may have a light out here. So it's just like starting to glow. So I don't have any actual windows open yet, but that's what I'm hoping to get, tomorrow or the next day, just
Yeah,
giving my brain deadlines.
yeah,
But you're
yeah,
But
seeing
yeah.
colors. You're getting the colors
yes,
back.
getting the colors. The yellow is hard to see with the copper,
Yeah.
but it's not hard to see with the aluminum. I think it's just because, so that there's not a lot of,
There's not a lot of
Yeah,
difference, is
difference. It's
there?
very
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
similar.
So you
Yeah.
have to kind of sit with it for a couple of minutes, but I would say within like 30 or 45 seconds, you see the blue or the red because
Yeah.
there's a lot of difference there. And
Well,
it
what if
just,
you
so
use,
it
I mean,
starts here and just kind of comes up here to where it's literally just like blue water in front of you.
what
Cool.
if you use just the regular paper versus the transparent sheets there? Does that make a difference?
Yeah, I haven't tried it, but we tried some different things at this seminar. Rob had us working with fabric.
Hmm.
And so I'll try some fabric and some regular paper and see what happens to, the color. But
Okay. Yeah.
I think you'll still be able to see it. Yeah, I think it'll be pretty easy.
Yeah. But I think, at the next seminar, we'll bypass the patches. They can be added on after the paper.
Yeah. So we
Hmm.
had some people that, Rob, in my opinion, have like equaled or surpassed that level that Dahlia got when she was in Canada. So I would say that they have a lot of potential, like David Tran and Jeff, Jeff is the one that taught himself how to do this just by watching your videos, right?
Yeah, and he didn't even really understand about intuitive mindsight, using that as a stepping stone. He was just watching the videos, and him and his wife Holly, of course, they had each other for support that were all for this each. And they just practiced in the 2 months before, and
Hmm.
they both had windows open coming into the seminar. But the crazy thing was, Keith, is neither one of them could see at the intuitive level. So
Interesting.
they
They use
went
straight to
straight.
real time.
Yeah, they went, do not pass go, do not collect $200, go directly
Yeah.
to jail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and I thought that was so interesting because in their innocence and just wanting to be prepared to come to the seminar, they watched the videos and he said we picked up enough little tips and tricks and our windows came open. But at the seminar, they didn't understand what's all this about intuitive. They bypassed it. And I've always wondered if anybody can just go directly from 0 to 60 without doing 30 first, right?
And
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 Well,
these
huh.
these folks are in their 60s. Like I would say like mid. So
Okay.
they're not like these kids just graduating from high school that just
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I had something totally unexpected happen to me this week. So I was outside, I was working, I was actually talking to Chris Hoff, and he's just a really easygoing guy, like just kind of rolls with everything. So I'm outside talking to him and trying to convince him that he really is seeing, that he's just doubting himself. And he's sitting there looking at me. I have so that the sun is at my right, and it's probably maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, sun shining at me this way. I don't have a mask on. I looked at Chris, who did have a mask on, and I saw his eyes through his mask.
Wow.
And I'm like, why are you giving me a side eye? And he's like, because you're standing to my side. And he's like, how are you seeing my eyes? And I'm like, I don't know. But it happened twice. It happened that day and the next day. So I talked to Pam and I said, what do you think about that? And she said, well, she said, it stands to reason. Once you see through a mask, I guess it doesn't really matter if it's yours or somebody else's.
Right.
But
Yeah.
then, but that prompted the post that I made today. Like everybody's just like accelerating so fast. I see an industry coming our way where somebody can stand at the border crossings and say that semi is filled with people that are going to be exploited. And instead of having to unload an entire, shipping container of stuff, that somebody, with good mindsight would just be able to see through it and say, I see some anomaly through there. Go ahead and pull that one for X-ray or unload or whatever. Like I see industry coming from this and actual job skills. So it's just so amazing.
Yeah. That's relief with AI coming.
I know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I work so much better when I'm with other people and I don't have anybody here to practice with at the house, right? And so I was just jealous about you guys being there last week, and I was like, I wish I was there because I need it. I want to open up again. I
Yeah.
haven't
It was
opened up since
amazing.
last January.
Well, I mean, we have those classes Monday and Thursday. And
Yeah.
remember the story with Pam. Pam was in Goderich with Pat in Canada there in Ontario. She just got her intuitive level going and was very diligent and came to pretty much every session. And then all of a sudden, the one day just before the session, we all got the text message, I can see, I can see. Her window
Yeah.
came open. She saw the Christmas
Yeah.
balls on her tree, right, Pat? Pam?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yep. And
So,
Christmas is coming, so you
yeah.
don't know.
Yep.
I mean, if you put up a holiday tree, no matter
It's
what
up.
color lights it has, you just may, when you're not expecting it.
That's when it happened. A few days ago, had my mask on. I'm practicing the eye stretches, and I stretch them real far. I stretch them as far as they can go. I'm sure it's good for my eyes. I happen to realize there's a window open behind my right ear, and it's not being projected in the front. It's back here, and so if I move my hand back here, I can see it with the mask on. And put a color back there, I can see it with the mask on. And I'm wondering to myself, how long has that been there? Because it's beyond the eye stretches. And it doesn't project to the front. I have to really stretch the eye to see what's going on back here. But I'm fascinated that I've got this behind my ear. I love it.
Just to confirm, the mask is tight enough that you don't have big gaps on the sides, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's in her visual blind spot, like you can't see behind your ears, right? Because your eye
Yeah.
would literally have
Yeah.
to roll back in your head,
Exactly.
and then it
You
would
know,
have to see through your ear.
I was working with
So
Austin
it's
doing that, and that's actually where I was able to start to see back in the side corner here. But my eye was stretching so hard, it was painful,
to
right?
see.
And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is so uncomfortable staring way back there. It's like,
Yes.
I want to see it this way.
Yeah,
So I
and
got
I
a
can't
question
see
for you,
really
Pat.
well because it's long and narrow.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have to
everybody
move.
says that, Pen. Everybody
You
that
know,
has like a window here says that's like this. Like
Yes.
everyone that I
but here's
heard.
the crazy thing. If this is not using your eyes, if it's your brain, why do you
Mhm.
have to move your eyes to see it?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
here's my theory on that. Our entire lives, when we want to see something, we cast our eyes in that direction.
Mhm.
So our eyes think, even after all this time, that they have to move in that direction. I'm just now, after over a year, starting to feel my consciousness and my eyes kind of uncoupling.
Ah,
And it's when I'm doing the eye stretches. So I have my eyes rolled up in in my head. I know I can feel that. I know where they are. And now my consciousness is starting to kind of wander over here. So I think it's just a matter of our eyes still think they're in charge. Our brain thinks it's in charge, and then our eyes are like, I'm next in charge. So I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. So that's where the eye stretches really help, because a lot of times your windows start opening in your periphery. And if you haven't done those eye stretches, you don't have a lot of stamina built
Right.
up to be able to maintain, your eye wants to go here where you're seeing.
All right. So I have to ask, just to be clear, we're talking a lot about eye stretches. So you have a specific eye stretch routine that you do at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I just
Rob,
do it every day. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I hold it for 10 seconds as far as I can go to the side. And then 10 seconds to the other side as far as I can go. And then up the same and down. And also then diagonally
Mm-hmm.
and diagonally down. So I've got it all the way around. I think my eyes are probably stronger for it. I definitely check for a window on the other side, and there is not one, but there's definitely one here. And I'm so excited because that to me, I call it like a real window. I've got these little white elements going on here,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
haven't opened up to be really clear.
I know that
And
Michaela had us do these eye movements where we held them, and I probably overdid it because I strained my eyes. But
Mm.
is it necessary to strain your eyes as far as you can go, do you think?
I don't think it is. I just do for myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do
Yeah.
too. So one of the things with my eyes, one of the reasons why my retinas try to detach is because the muscles around my eyes had gotten so weak that my eyes were getting oblong shaped. And the more
Mm-hmm.
oblong shaped they were, the more it was tugging at the retina. So those little bands that hold it
Yep.
in place were popping loose. So now the stretches have caused my eyes to return to their round shape, which then has also improved my vision. So, so side effect of doing that is that my vision is much
yeah, yeah, they recommend this for improving the vision, the normal vision. Like, Ben, do you think that the stretch help out with this window behind?
I think so. I
Go
stretch
ahead.
very, very far, and it's at the very end of it that I can see back
But
here.
you needed to look like you're not projecting here. You need to go there to see it or not. Like,
Yeah, because I think when I go there to see it, it seems like I might be able to really see it over my ear. But the open part is definitely back here because when I put my hand back here and move it, I can see it.
you
I
can
can
see your
see it more
hand.
right here, but the hand has to be back here and the colors
Wow.
have to be back here. And
And
then
you
I can
see like
see.
normal, like your hand,
Uh-huh.
the colors, like if you were seeing like normally.
Right.
That's so
Yeah,
cool.
it's clear open. It's almost like I have a hole in the back of my head that I can see
That's
through.
incredible. For how long do you do the stretch
It's like 10
exercise?
seconds per location, right?
That's
Yeah,
what I
but
do.
okay, but just it, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, and then or
Yeah,
Mhm.
and then
yeah.
yeah.
that
Then
is
I'm
it?
done.
So that's like 80
Okay.
seconds, when you think about every direction. And I do mine a little longer. I'll do like 30 seconds or maybe even a minute. But do you remember when we would put the pencils in our mouth because it would make our face,
Yeah.
kind of
Mhm.
contort? And those facial muscles, along with the eye muscles, seem to do something. Like I don't think they've studied that enough to know for sure. But when we were doing the pencil stuff, and then Artie started this thing. Artie does really good with remote viewing when she scrunches her eyes down really super tight for like
Yeah.
10 seconds and she can see whatever it is she's trying to see. She won't even know what it is, but she'll sketch it real quick and then that'll be what it is. So she's really good with that. So I thought, oh, I will try that. It doesn't help me with remote viewing, but it'll make another window pop open. And I can now feel when a window has come open. I feel it in my sinuses. It feels like when you've been congested and that last day when everything's starting
Those
to open up
drains.
and you get in the shower and it just feels like it's just like releasing and opening. That's what it feels like when I have another window open. I was telling people, do the big grin, raise your eyebrows and kind of squint your eye at the same time, like, make these weird faces. Somebody else said, yeah, we've been doing puffer fish too. And I'm like, oh, what's puffer fish? So they do like the jazz player, the what's his name, Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong?
Louis
Louis Armstrong.
Armstrong.
Remember how he
Mhm.
would puff out his
Mhm.
cheeks? Some people are doing that. So there's something to the facial muscles. So I'm going to look into like facial yoga because they teach those classes, right?
Yeah,
And see what we can pick up from there. There's just so much we don't know, but
yeah.
we're learning.
Yeah.
We
And
got to keep on experimenting.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And I don't have to stretch my eyes to be able to see. It might be what opened it, but it's open now, even if I don't stretch the eyes. It's
Nice.
Yeah,
And could you read
got
a
it.
book back there, Pam, if you wanted to?
I could probably get about a couple of words out of a
Nice.
book. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely be hard to hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you could have somebody stand back there and kind of,
Yeah.
just move it for you a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit.
If somebody held it for me, yeah.
Or if you
I-
tape a paper on the wall and then you can move it when, whichever direction, because everything's kind of opposite when it's
yeah.
behind you.
Yeah, photocopy off a page and see
Yeah,
if I
there
can
you
read it.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I'm real excited. I'm hoping for more to come on in the front. And last week during one of the practices, and we put on the black cardstock. What I do have is a window trying to open on my left side. And when I put the cardstock on, then it moved over to the right side, and I had never seen it on the right side. So
I
I'm
love it.
excited.
That is actually how I learned a couple of things. One, Dally likes to put stuff on her eyes, and she would put like 3 layers of patches on her eyes. She doesn't necessarily like it hanging off of her face. She likes it to be on her eyes. I like it hanging off my face. So just different way of working, right? When I had like 7 layers on and I started seeing pink, and I'm like, where is this pink coming from? And I couldn't figure it out. It was the wall behind me. So my brain said, oh, I see you and I raise you one. My 7 layers were eye patches. And then I had my mask. So that's the second layer. 2 pieces of cardstock, a white and a black. So that's 4. Then I put another mask, a different kind of mask over the top of that. So that's 5. Then I put a piece of leather over that, which was 6. And then I threw a towel over my head, which would have been the
You
7th.
get to the point where it's like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I gotta switch to metal because Rob had this video, and I was really wanting to see where's the limit, right?
Mhm.
But Rob had this video of this guy that he didn't use a mask. He had this leather hood, and the only thing protruding was his nose. And he was playing pool, and I'm like, well, yeah, leather.
That when you get all these 7 layers, how do
Mhm.
you see? Like
So
normally, like
yeah,
colors just or
yeah, at some point, and it varies every day where I do or don't have a window, but at 7 layers, I'm still seeing color. It just looks like the whole room lit up in the color, not like patches of it or a square of it. It's just like the whole thing lit up in blue or pink or purple or whatever cold color I'm holding up.
Are you able
So
to see the
wow,
squares, like the shapes at all?
not yet, but that's on my list. It's going to happen.
Okay, and when
that's
you have,
amazing.
where does it stop for you at the moment? Like, can you see the shapes with eye patches and the mask on?
Yes.
Okay, but then as soon as you put another layer, that's where it stops and you
Right.
can only
When I
see color?
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? The brain is so funny. So Claudia likes the white cardstock. I thought I liked the black cardstock because it matched up with the whole idea of the welder's mask and I worked as a welder for 20 years. So that all matched up with me. Now my brain wants them both. If I just put
Mm.
one on there, it doesn't perform the same as it does with both. So it wants both. So I just comply. I do both sheets, but I will have to separate them at some point. I do get what I call the light bars with the eye patches, mask, and 2 sheets of cardstock. So the light bars are just those white patches that then will glow if you hold something that's lit by the sun out here. And another
Yeah,
thing that Rob introduced this time was he was wonderful. He just like quickly overnight, spur of the moment, got a whole bunch of kaleidoscopes. At that point where you start getting what looks like soap bubbles,
Mhm.
and some people are like, "Oh, that looks like a kaleidoscope," and Rob's like, his brain just started clicking. He got a bunch of
I was on
kaleidoscopes.
Amazon that night and we had them the next day, Keith.
Yeah,
Nice.
and
Wow.
how
yeah,
did you use that?
Hey, like you say to yourself, I already have my mind sight. When I have other windows come open, they look like colorful prisms. And as you turn the kaleidoscope and see that, you're kind of showing your brain it can look sort of like that. And it seemed to help people as well, right, Pat?
yeah, absolutely. And then they
Huh.
knew what to look for. So I remember when Pam and I first we were driving to the seminar and we're like, I wonder what this is going to look like when we get our mind sight because we're both medium. So we're thinking, is it going to be like third eye? Because third eye is sort of like a still shot that's like blurred down, black and white usually. And we're thinking maybe it was going to be like that. And we were just totally blown away when it looks just like this, right? We're like, well, how is this going to unfold? And of course, the answer is, well, it looks differently for everybody.
Yeah.
But these are some of the things that you might see. Like it might just come on and you're checking to see if you have a mask, or you think you have a hole in your mask, or you might get these little white spots, or you'll be convinced that you're looking around your nose and that you're cheating. And
Yeah.
photography was a really big help there. They would see here and they'd be like, no, I'm looking down my nose. And so I would take a side profile and I'm like, okay, if you're looking down the side of your nose, that paper would have to be down here. Helping them with that was really big. Jensen, he was one that finally got through that doubt for a moment when I showed him what it looked like when he's got the paper up here, but to be looking, it would have to be down here.
And then we had Ivan, who's quite an intuitive guy from England, who I was trying out just to see what he could do. And he brought over experimentally. He was standing beside me and he says, Rob, have I got my eyes open? And I look at him and he's got them squinched, shut.
Hmm.
And he says, I feel like they're open. He says, I'm going to make them real tight. And he's like squeezing them down, and I'm holding up stuff, and he's seeing it all. And
Wow.
I think we had a second person that was, yeah, we did, who was seeing through their eyelids as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So many different ways, and that's why we're trying to give them a few tools, just sort of a sample that it could look like this, just to kind of get them kick-started.
People
That
of
was so good.
all ages and all backgrounds, like people in their 80s and people in their
Yeah,
20s,
Yeah.
people who
that's
do
so cool.
analytical work and people who do, I don't know, retail or whatever. And one guy who
Yeah.
hasn't figured it out yet, so
Yeah.
it was super cool.
Was asked by a couple people, will you do, like a master class? And I said,
Yeah.
well, I've talked about it with Antonio, but I've been reluctant to do it until we get a good core group of people who are seeing in real time already. Because it'll be for those folks. That'll be the qualifier. You've got to be able to see the room in real time, however small, as long as you can see in real time. You'll be able to come to the master class where we'll work on getting your windows open larger, getting more windows open. Some folks who want to do the 360 or even the spherical view, right, where it's everywhere around you. That would be a master class. And I had people put up their hands how many people would come, and I think it was 26 out of the 40. And I said,
Wow.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
and that's one group, one session.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's time now because we're learning new things all the time. And once again, I encourage the folks to experiment, like try stuff, like it's harmless, it won't hurt you. Try different things. And what else did people try that worked, Pat? Do you
Oh
remember?
my gosh. So they were walking from one house to another. So the houses were not consecutively down the street. One might
Yep.
be, 5 houses down, one might be, on the other side of the tennis courts or whatever. And they were walking to class with their masks on. So they would have someone walking with them as a guide, but I mean they were
Okay.
just like they were raring to go. They were all about it. And I think I don't remember who it was, but I think somebody said they had a window open while they were
That's
walking.
what I found with me too. It's like the more consistently I was playing games, I would have my kids, moving around bean bags. We did that just for like an hour. At that point, it just opened. I could see my daughter's hand moving the beanbag. I'm like, yep, there it is. I'm just watching it go by. I think that has a lot to do with it, just the consistency. But you
Yeah.
guys, I think, are at a different position as well, kind of a different level of being able to just open instantly as soon as you put your mask on. So that maybe is
So
just
that
with conditioning.
Yeah, that's what Dahlia had said because I said, I need a minute for my windows to come on. And she's like, why? And I'm like, because that's how I trained. And she's like, no, she's like, I have my brain trained that mask on, windows open. And I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, that's what I'm
yeah.
going to work on. Rob used to give us when we were in the practice classes. He would say, okay, try again. And he'd give us like 3 tries. And then he said, he realized your mindset will take as many chances as you give it. So now
Hmm.
everybody gets one chance. Mindsight is stepping up to it. So from that, I have started giving my mindsight deadlines, by like Friday, we're going to do such and such. And most of the time we hit it, so I'm giving it goals and deadlines, affirmations and stuff. And the affirmations, it turns out, are huge. Like people were writing some really not intricate, but very specific affirmations and giving themselves a
Yeah,
lot of information in one
Yeah.
that
sentence.
was a new thing, Keith, that we added because it worked for me.
Yeah.
So I handed out index cards and I said, you want it to contain the word already, like I'm already seeing with my mind sight. And you should describe what is already like I'm already seeing with my mind sight through the mask. I'm already seeing everything in the room. And using that already word is a very powerful word. So
Mhm.
each day they would write one affirmation, and then I would have them close their eyes and visualize that they are seeing. And we had already done the hole in the mask, so they had something to visualize what it could look like. And we did the straw thing. At the very end, we did the kaleidoscope thing also with the colors to simulate the prisms. It's the idea that, you tell yourself you're already seeing. And I said, well, you're not telling a fib because most, as a child, we did do this and we just don't even remember and it got shut down. So
They've studied this, they've measured this. You can get almost the same muscle development by seeing yourself mentally doing it as you can doing it.
Yes.
Like it's like 90% of the muscle development in athletes comes from that mental rehearsal
Hmm.
Yeah.
of it. There's all kinds of studies about that. One of the most powerful and moving things with a group of 40 some people, it takes a little while, is that where you're giving another person in the group a sincere compliment. And it
yes,
can't be like everybody giving one
Yeah.
person a compliment.
Yeah.
Points, there was not a dry eye in the group.
Mhm.
Like some of them were so moving and so genuine that it's like, wow, that's some pretty powerful stuff.
and that helps
Like
again
like
open up your
everybody
mindset.
together.
Yeah, well,
Like
you
what
go around
happened?
the room, it's where, okay, start with one person and they give a sincere compliment to another, then that
Yeah.
person is it. Okay, it's like tag, and they have to give one and then until everybody's done. And then I think on the last day we did a variation of that for the last six folks who were getting their mind sight open. On
Yeah.
the Sunday, the next one was, okay, tell us something you're grateful for. Okay, something that you can be sincere and you can feel it, that you can honestly say, I'm grateful for this, but not just say it, but feel it. And when you can
Yeah.
feel that you're grateful, that helps to open up your mind sight as
Yeah.
well.
And there was at least one person, if not two, that I remember talking about, how they didn't really allow themselves to feel,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, now I'm allowing myself to feel how amazing this is. Like in my job, feeling is like your biggest enemy. Like you can't let yourself, because there are jobs like that, right? And they were talking about really kind of letting their guard down and letting their feeling, their true feeling come through and how powerful that was.
And giving yourself permission that it's okay. Like we all give you permission, but you also have to give yourself permission for this because some people almost think that they don't deserve it or they haven't earned it, but give yourself permission. Just say it to yourself. I give myself permission to have this or operate this ability.
I think honestly that's my biggest problem. I say it's like I know I can do this. I've done it before.
Right.
But why should I be able to do this?
And we talked about that, Keith. I've done this a couple of times to Rob. I'm like, okay, Rob, do you think there's 10,000 people in the world that can do this? And he's like, oh, no, no, way too many. And I'm like, 5,000? He's like, no, 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 less than that. And I'm like, 1,000 maybe? And he's like, oh, I think it's under 1,000 people. So the reality is, if we know somebody who does this, like somebody says, I went jogging this morning before work, you can totally see how somebody did that because
Mhm.
a bunch of people that jog, a bunch of them that may jog before work, like you totally buy into it, and maybe I'll jog tomorrow. But we just don't, outside of our circle, we don't know people who can do this. So it's hard to imagine and hard to allow ourselves to believe that we can do this. Why are we, of the adults in the world that can do this, why are we the 1,000 or so special? It's like, how
Because
did
we
that
found out
happen?
about it and we
We
tried.
had examples
Yep.
like the folks in this group,
Yes.
Dahlia and Pat, and then
100 monkey effect.
that's right. And
Yeah,
some of the alumni and so on. It'll get more and more as time goes on, and it'll become easier to believe. Probably we'll be able to get people open sooner too, because we
right.
can break down
Yes.
those limiting beliefs, right?
Right.
Yes.
And I mean, think about all the kids that want to be an NBA star. They have somebody, they're looking at that. They're watching every game. They're memorizing the stats. They're walking like this
Mhm.
guy. They're wearing the shoes. They're maybe telling people to call him that as a nickname. Call me Jordan. So they have that. And we just haven't had that. So it's super hard to imagine
Well,
and really be,
Dahlia Lama,
yep,
she's
yep,
becoming that person because everybody you talk to saw her on the either
yes.
the,
Oh, she's everywhere.
contact or the
Yes.
Yeah.
telepathy tapes, or she's going to be in Superhuman. She was
Right.
at the Psy Games. A lot of people are seeing her, and that's
Yeah.
the example we have at the
You
moment.
think she's
Yeah.
only been open for a little bit over a year?
We get to claim she came through a VWE
Yeah.
class too.
Yes.
And it's interesting because I would tell people, I was like, I was there at that class. Carol, I'm like, Hannah,
Yeah, we saw in
Hannah,
real time
oh,
happening.
yeah. And they're like, but wait, you've only been doing this, and it's like it blows their mind that it's only been a little over a year instead of like a lifetime. Now, imagine what it'll be like 5 years from now,
Yeah.
or 10 years from now. People have a real hard time wrapping their mind around the fact that it can move that fast once if they really dedicate themselves to
Yeah.
practice. It was like, he's like, I know you. I've seen 400 videos with your you're a legend. I'm like, no, Dahlia's the legend. And he's like, but I've seen all the videos. And I'm like, Rob only posts the stuff we get right.
Hey, just take the compliment.
That's right. That's right.
It took me a little bit, but I'm like, oh, okay.
You're there too.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
this belief effect you are
Yeah,
causing.
I think it really helped when I put the aluminum foil over my head. They didn't know I was like panicking inside saying, hope to God I can do this. I've done it before, I'm like, well, let's see.
It's always a first.
But and I figured if I couldn't, they needed to see that too. Just because you're trying something for the first time, it may or may not happen.
And
right?
we said it was an experiment, right? We did say.
Yep, absolutely.
All the cool things that happened in Orlando.
Was really good.
Yeah.
And congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Hakeem opened too.
He
So
did.
now he knows the
Nice.
struggle is real.
Nice.
He understands. And after that, then he's working with telekinesis, psychokinesis. He's like moving straws and Coke cans. And he just really took off after that.
All right, you guys will have a fabulous Thanksgiving.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
happy Thanksgiving, guys.